Hey everyone, Dr. Alex here, and we've got another what's going to be weekly or multiple weekly patient discussion, or like a case of the week, where we're going to discuss something that comes up in the office that I think is going to be useful to those of you that subscribe. Thank you for doing so. If you don't already, please like and subscribe. And so with today's case, we're going to go over one of the most common topics that I cover in the office, especially with patients that are a few weeks into corrective care, and especially with patients that tend to be a little bit on the stiffer end, where one of their primary reasons for coming into seeing us in the office is often a lack of mobility, stiffness through the spine, and just not moving as frequently or as much as they would like to. So I don't have an imaginary patient in this case. This is something that we often talk about on a weekly basis. But the discussion usually goes like this. Hey, doc, I got a question for you. I'm a little worried about. Yeah, what's up? Well, I've noticed it since I've started coming. Yeah, I've been feeling a lot better. I'm moving better, but my spine's making a lot more noise. And so I go, oh, okay, that's typically a good thing. And they go, yeah. And I go, yeah. And I go, like, let's do this thought experiment. So, when you first came to see me, didn't move very well, lots of stiffness. You probably didn't have a lot of gas or noise coming out of the spine. And that's ultimately what those pops or cracks are. They are a release of gas. And they go, uh-huh. And I go, well, you noticed that when we started making corrections to your spine, we'd have some gas coming out, and that with the weeks going by, we're getting more gas come out. And then you started to move and stretch a bit more, your mobility improved, and then gas started coming out at home. They go, uh-huh. And I go, well, what that tells us is that those joints are starting to move in a healthy manner. Because when you have a joint that does not move properly and cannot make it to its end range of motion, where the gas comes to that end range of motion, the gas gets trapped. The problem is that the joint doesn't move properly, which interferes with and that brain-body connection. And so when you start to have a spine that moves and the joints can make it all the way as far as it's healthy to, that's when that gas starts to come out. So when you're in chiropractic school, often you're making adjustments and corrections to the spine when they're not really necessary, because the need to practice is greater. And thankfully, the risk of adjusting the spine is very, very low. So, by the time you get to third or fourth year, when you're practicing a lot with your classmates, what you're noticing is that, you might do a simple stretch and you get this zipper of gas coming out, or pops and cracks coming out, even with the simplest of stretches. Now, this in itself, not unhealthy. Cracking your knuckles, having that gas come out, not unhealthy, as long as there's enough muscle strength and enough stability to support that very flexible spine. And so when I start to hear this from patients, I think, okay, this is a good thing. We are on the right track. The spine is starting to move better. It's starting to be healthier, and that we're getting joints that are able to move to their fullest capacity. And yes, I want to hear more and more and more gas come out of the spine. And that remark from patients when they're doing their homework, when they're doing their stretching, their flexibility, and their mobility work. So if this is something you are noticing a lot, it might not be such a bad thing. It might just mean that your spine is flexible and that it's moving well, as long as it's fairly evenly distributed through the spine. We know that when there are joints that are unhealthy, the ones above it and below it, they tend to do too much movement and move excessively. So maybe it's just the one or two joints that keep popping and cracking, keep letting that gas out, because they're doing too much of the lion's share. They are moving too much, where maybe there's large swaths of the spine that are not moving enough. That I cannot answer for you without an examination. It would be irresponsible for me to say otherwise. So I would tend to be more worried if somebody's stretching and they're feeling really stiff, they're feeling really immobile, and their spine's not making any noise. That pop or that crack, same thing when I make the correction on the joint has moved as far to do on your own. Usually it's a pretty good thing. Now, I'm not going to comment too much on shoulders or joints or knees or other thing. We'll leave that for another discussion. But I know this is going to be something that a lot of people are going to be wondering about. And I think for the most part, if your spine's making a lot of noise, that in itself is not a reason to go see a chiropractor or get your spine checked. I think you should probably get your spine checked, just like you should get your blood work done, just to make sure that, one of the most important organs in your body, your nervous system, is working properly. But again, a discussion for another day. So if you guys have any questions from this, please let me know. I'll do my best to get to them. Sometimes I get hundreds of comments in one day. It's tough, and I will continue to do my best. I hope that answers some of your questions. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take good care of yourself and take good care of your spine. And I will see you. Yeah, I got a new camera coming this Friday, so hopefully I'll do another video with the quality being really excellent. You guys take care until then.